All right, welcome in Hanna Time. Cornelius, Brad, Hanna, Global Sports Broadcasting Network. We're going to talk about Cardinals, Giants, what happened with the Cardinals flop in the second half, and the Giants' big step that they were looking for 6 quarters. And we'll kind of recap all about the NFL right here, all right now. 30 seconds coming up. Hanna Time. Here we go. Count it down. 1, 2, 3, 4. With 19 seconds left on the clock, the comeback was almost completed, but the Giants do come back with a Cardinal flop. A lot of fans in Arizona are talking about, but there's a lot of, you got to keep your heads up for what I saw yesterday and in the first game with the Cardinal fans. We got to put this all in perspective as a Cardinal fan base. If you're looking for something, remember, this was not supposed to be any good year. This was supposed to be maybe 3 wins, right? And you were trying to what if or kind of get 3 or 5 wins. We thought maybe 1-1 or 0-2, right? As people were making predictions. They're 0-2, the Arizona Cardinals. The Giants are 1-1. If you're going to sit there today and think the Cardinals are a better team than the Giants, not true. Giants just, like a lot of teams, just find ways to get off to a slow start, and they find themselves. The Giants found themselves in the second half or somewhere in that locker room, coming out of the locker room. That's on them. That's Giants football. Cardinals football, I think we know what this team is kind of built so far and who they are and what their identity is. I'm going to talk about that. Got a few things. The one thing that I learned yesterday, too, was the Cardinals have a lot of heart. And they got ball players. They got football players. Their depth is still not strong. Their roster needs a little bit more depth for guys to come in. And the reason why I say that was I saw tired football players. And I'm not the only one who mentioned that. People around me, the Cardinals got tired in the second half. But let's go back to Washington, week 1. Second half. Cardinals played a great game still. They were winning, right? They were playing, they were balling. They were balling yesterday. And they got tired in the second half, or they fell apart, or they just couldn't hang on. Right? And that happened yesterday in a bigger way against the Giants. So the question now pops up. Is this team conditioned to go the full length of a football game, 60 minutes, or just not enough depth of ball players to rotate in and out? Then you also got to look at on defense. Budda Baker was not there the whole game, but they were winning 28-7 without him. And then Clark, number 13, he got hurt. And he left the game. And that damaged the Cardinals in the secondary. So at that point, there were 2 defensive backs, starters, great talent, gone. And I think that had a big effect on the Giants' comeback. But it wasn't just the Giants figuring something out. I would say the Giants found themselves. And the Cardinal fans, you got to realize that. This team was expected to make the playoffs in a lot of people's minds. And maybe even challenge the division title. And what you saw against the Cowboys and what you were getting for 2 quarters against the Cardinals, it was like lost. This team is so lost, the Giants. And had a lot to do with the Cardinals' play. But the Giants were lost, and somehow they found it in the middle of week 2, the game. I have always told you, wake me up when September ends. That's a great example. A team finding themselves, supposedly found themselves a giant football team. And what we found out with the Cardinals is what we got in week 1 and what we got in week 2. Tough defense. They could put some points on the board. And the one thing about the Cardinals did yesterday was they took advantage of the Giants' deep safety. Giants played a deep safety for the most part for the first half. They changed that in the second half. So what the Cardinals ended up doing was throwing a lot of things underneath. Zach Ertz was wide open, a lot of short passes, something that you see a lot in the NFL. But the Giants just were not in coverage, the best coverage for something like that. And we're just a mess. They figured it out. They closed it down. They tightened it up. Those plays that the Cardinals were getting in the first half were quite not there anymore. Something's changed. The defensive line of the Cardinals, for the Giants, got better, got more pressure. Saw some different blitz packages. Isaiah Simmons came into the game. Folks, he didn't play a whole lot. I think he got like one play, maybe two in the first half. You're like, well, it's only Isaiah Simmons. Tap the brakes. You weren't say that a year ago or two. A lot of you guys had a lot of hope for him. Giants plugged him in the second half. Not the whole entire, but they had a lot of plays for him to come onto the field. They asked him to play some ball in the second half. And his speed, his athletic ability, and all that did help the Giants' defense. You probably did not recognize that, but I noticed that when he got on the field, things changed for the Giants' defense. It allowed the Giants to do something else. What it was, I'm still trying to, but I just know Isaiah Simmons, his energy, his athletic ability, and he made plays. He made plays. He was involved in plays. And that's what the Giants were looking for. That was a great, great opportunity for Isaiah Simmons. And he showed up. There's probably more coming for him. But those are some of the things that I was checking off the list. Like, okay. Now, other things too is, the Cottrell Clark injury, I thought did hurt at the moment. That was coming out of the second half. The Giants had a different idea offensively. Daniel Jones, folks, as much heat as he takes, did you think he was a bad quarterback yesterday in the second half? Think about this. You got Dobbs, right? You had Murray, but Daniel Jones, he led that team back. That guy was a monster, right? He made some amazing throws. He used his legs. Did you realize how fast he was? I think Cardinal fans, for the first time, for the most part, got to see how fast that guy is. This is Daniel Jones after the game. He deserves it. Absolutely deserves it. Now, if you're picking one for the Cardinals, who and what Cardinal player would you have chosen to be the player of the game? I was going to go with Dobbs for everything he's been up against his whole career, right? Getting another start, probably had his best. He did. He had his best. He played his best football, Dobbs, as a quarterback in the NFL in the first half. He looked amazing. I had all the Cardinal fans giddy. And then by the end of the game, Cardinal fans are dumping him. You guys are you're schizo, man. Just schizo. It is what it is, right? A couple of thoughts popped into my head, but I don't want to get there today or maybe another day as I watch something. But just something about the quarterback position is growing in me. I got to watch more of it. I won't tell you what it is, but here's some more things I want to talk about is the Giants locker room. When they came out, they were a different team. The Cardinals came out, there was a different energy when they came out in the first half, coming out of the locker room. Okay. Did a team get complacent? I think one team did. But there was another factor that I noticed too. And it wasn't major, but it could have been affected by taking away a possession or two with the game clock. Is that the Cardinals didn't really milk the clock enough, up by 3 touchdowns. I know you don't want to be complacent. All right. But you could have at least tried to eliminate as much playing time when you had that big lead. Just throwing it out there. I know people were talking about that. But I want to get back to the conditioning part. Because if I'm going to go after the head coach, which I thought that was a minor part of the game, is where the comeback. You don't blow a 28-7. That's on coaches. Yes, on players. But somehow you got to manage that to win that game, even if it ends up being close. And every NFL game seems to end up within one possession anyway. And it was 28-7. Giants had the ball. Cardinals just scored, right? But there was something different. I remember I got a text message. And they're saying, Giants, I'm bringing the Cardinals luck. I'm bringing the Cardinals luck. There was somebody in the stands. And I said, something has changed, though, in this game. The energy has changed. There's a different energy about it. And it happened. And I really felt that way. It was 28-7, and it just mounted. It snowballed and snowballed. And I know you don't want to go over it, Cardinal fans, but that's what you were going through. It's the game of the week. You were part of the game of the week. It sucks that you lost. Could not just make a stop. Could not stop a Giant football team. That's what happened in the first half when the Giants couldn't stop the Cardinals. Two totally different games. Completely, right? Everybody knows that. Couple of notes here too. The one thing I was concerned with was the conditioning of the Cardinal players itself, the star players. They couldn't find them enough air, enough oxygen in that fourth quarter. They were toasted. Even my 12-year-old daughter told me, without even asking, I asked her one question: how did you like the game? And she said, well, I noticed the Cardinals look tired, Dad. And I go, why? Well, I play sports, she said. I play sports. And I go, yeah. Well, they were hanging on their hips. They were bent over on their knees, and that's what I do. I said, good point, because I started seeing that a little bit more and more. I said, good point. And when the physical part of the game, late in the game, starts to matter, and you're not there, your legs are not there, she was very observant. I think some fans saw that too. They got tired. And then when you're mentally tired, trying to figure things out, you're scrambling, you're off key, you're not the same team. Mentally, you're taking a blow, and physically, you're not the same player in the second quarter coming out of the locker room. All right. There you have that, folks. All right. But here's my positive about some of the things with the Cardinal fans. All right. So the Cardinals itself were a team that was supposed to go like 3-14, right? Some people are going, oh, they got 9 wins. That's dreaming. They got 6 or that's me. That was still dreaming. Okay. If you were going to win, you had to win and beat someone, but you're the Cardinals. You are not, you're depleted everything. It's very difficult. But what I did see and have been witnessing, like you have been, and you got to really put your hat on this, folks. They're building something. They got a foundation of football players with a lot of heart, but they make plays. They're physical, right? And a lot of people don't even know this roster well enough. Not even the Cardinal fans were trying to figure something out. But they played tough. They lost 2 games by 1 possession. You could be 2-0 if things go the right way. I don't think it mattered if Kyler Murray was there or not. If Kyler was there, it's just the way this team is built right now. It's not a 60-minute team. It's not. It's not a 60-minute team. That's okay. They're getting there. Maybe it's a 40-minute team, right? But that's because of more talent and more depth, and they're building that, and they're going to have a great offseason. Is the season dead? No. Is this playoff? You knew this was not going to be a playoff team going in. You're hoping for the miracle. You're hoping to shut everybody up. That's great. That's fan stuff. But in reality, now you're looking at a very long stretch of some great football teams coming in. Bengals, Cowboys, Bengals, right? The Rams are playing tough. That's not going to be an easy one. They got the Ravens down the road. They got San Francisco. This is going to be this. You very well could be 0-7, 0-8 halfway through. And don't get upset when the fans sell their tickets. Okay, I saw a comment, and I think our good friend Dino, the Red Rage, I'm going to give him some love here, even though he wasn't at the game. So I don't know what happened. We'll keep that for another day. I'm looking for his quote. Here it is. And I just wanted to give him some love. Here's the Red Rage. According to the Facebook, Arizona Cardinals have a 1.9 million fan base. So why can't we fill up State Farm every game? Without having the opposing teams coming in. All right, Red Rage. All right, Dino, and other fans. We've been used to this, okay? And this is just one of those locations. I had a great conversation yesterday with some people about the energy, that Aaron Rodgers quote of manifestation of the fans, how it can carry a team. The New York fans were there, and the Cardinal fans sold their tickets. And when you look on the schedule and you see, like, all right, we're not going to have a great year. We're not going to the playoffs. I want to go to a few games. But if I'm going to sell tickets to reimburse my money and roll it into next season, this is the year you do it, folks. And you're going to complain about it. And where's your loyalty? Well, look at yourself a lot of ways too. But you can't complain. These are people who have had season tickets for decades. Okay, so you cannot challenge that part. Okay, they've been loyal. They paid the money. The Cardinals are still getting their money no matter who's going to the game, right? You can't control it. If you try to control that, I think there's a problem. And I think you miss out on that. Means when you go to a road game somewhere else, you're going to get shut out. So just zip it. But Cardinal fans are loyal, right? The reason why when you go to a Giant game, you still find Cardinals fans find tickets at Giant Stadium or MetLife Stadium, right? You still get to go. You still get in. There's a Giant fan selling a ticket. But there's more people from New York. There is a larger fan base of Giant fans. Okay. That's what you're up against. And you're out west. So the LA, the Vegas, the Arizona Giant fans, right? New Mexico, Colorado, Utah. And they're coming from all over that region. And the ones that are coming from the east, they're going to get away and do a road trip like you do. So is it difficult to watch a sea of blue? It looked like a high school football game where one side was one school and the other side was another school. And at times you had different energies of screaming and yelling going on. It was wild. It was fun. It was kind of nice to see, actually. I enjoyed it. And yes, the Giant fans are passionate. Even my own 12-year-old daughter said, "Dad, that was a little too much." I go, there's a difference between a fan base and another fan base. Yes, you are passionate fans, but there's another energy, there's another dynamic on the East Coast, folks. And you travel that way, you've seen it. But when you're watching your team make a comeback, of course you're going to get crazy. So don't put this on New York fans. They're idiots, and that's their passion. Now, if they're saying mean things and rude things, that happens in a lot of places. And they're all getting drunk. And I'm sure that's what happened yesterday. And I'm sure Cardinal fans did the same thing. But when you want to find out why you cannot fill up a stadium, you do have that opportunity. And it comes down to this: win, win, win. Okay? And when you win, those tickets will not be sold. And those season ticket holders, those people who have their tickets, won't sell them. They won't sell them. It's the same thing. You buy something that you like, and your product that you bought doesn't fit, don't like it, something's not right, you return it. It's not a champion winning pair of jeans, right? Or something like that. But you return it. Why can't a fan return their ticket? Or sell it off? If you want to sell it off, folks, I tell you, it's a great time to put this in. This is my sponsor, too. One of my sponsors, P2P Ticks. I'm sure a lot of Giant fans got their tickets this way because that's what you do. You direct person-to-person tickets. If you want to go and grab your tickets and sell them off if you want to. It doesn't have to be sports. It could be concerts. It could be any show, any entertainment. You just get on this site, get the app. It's up. It's safe, secure. They guaranteed your money back, folks. Guaranteed. P2P Ticks. Grab it now. And grab that app now and go through that route if you want to. Even when you travel on the road looking for tickets and you're looking to get out there, go ahead and use P2P Ticks to get your tickets when you're on the road. And that goes for all fans itself. All right. I thought it was a fun game to watch. When you walk out of there, I saw fans shaking their heads, people that I saw. I remember Troy. I feel bad for him, man. He was numb. Felt bad for him because he was in Washington and watched that one. And he goes, this one was worse. Love you, Troy, but I know what you felt, right? Kid Rock himself, he was having a blast. And yes, his torn up knee, man, didn't feel any better. Okay. But I think he put things in perspective too. But the one thing he was confused on was clock management. And I understand that also. You would think maybe they can milk it down a little bit to maybe eliminate a couple of minutes off the game clock, and maybe the Giants don't get that last possession. That's what you're thinking. That's micromanagement of game clock when you're winning and leading 28-7. And that's okay. That's fair to say. I understand that itself. I really do. I really do. All right. I'm going to shift gears in a second here to get in some NFL stuff that maybe you didn't get a chance to see. You're all tired. A lot of fans, you go home and you're just like spent and you don't want to watch anything else. Right? Even the game last night was okay to watch, the Patriots and the Dolphins. And that came down to the wire too. That was a close call for the Dolphins. They pulled it off. But for the Giant fans too, they got to feel good. They really found themselves. This is, again, it goes back to wake me up when September ends. I think they found themselves in the middle of September. Some teams will do that. Some teams will find themselves as we get through week 2, week 3, and by week 4, we'll kind of know going into week 5 where everything starts to lay itself out. I believe we know who the Arizona Cardinals are. And I believe now we saw what the New York Giants football team can be. And that's good for them. They needed that, the flight back home. Actually, that ain't even going home. They're actually staying in Arizona, the Giants. They actually, when the Cardinal fans talk about selling tickets to Giant fans, well, the Giants are staying here. They got a game on the West Coast in San Fran on Thursday night. And then I believe they're coming back to Arizona and staying a little longer for another game. So it's kind of funny how this all plays out. But the Giants are going to be here, staying in Arizona. But they got to be feeling great about themselves. They really do. Because what 6 quarters of football were showing, everybody was mocking him. And that's got to be a great feeling to shut it up in that big way. And you got to feel okay for them, because if you feel like what they've been going through and then escaping this game, they escaped. Because if they go 0-2, the Giants, think about where they'd be. They lost to the Cowboys in a walloping, ugly game, and they got embarrassed by the Arizona Cardinals. That's what they would be saying today. That's what you all be saying this morning, right? Or a lot of the media people. They got beat by the Arizona Cardinals, and they got whooped, right? Even if it was a closer game, they would be 0-2. Now, you imagine that going back to the New York media and the fan base. 0-2 with San Fran coming up in San Fran. The whole season is like looking like it's all going to fall apart within 1 month. And all that promise, right? It's a long season. And we saw last year with Pittsburgh, they went 1-6 and almost got into the playoffs. Right. So, anything's possible these days in the NFL. All those 0-2 starts that you see, everybody's like, no team has ever, throw it out the window. Those stats are starting to change. Teams are making comebacks in season. The game has changed. It's all different. So a lot of teams that are 0-2, hang on. A lot of teams are 1-1. You're treading water. You're fine. The 2-0 teams, are you going undefeated? Who knows? Okay, we got 2 games tonight in the NFL. 2 games. And I think my eyes are more on the Browns-Steeler game. Just Browns are 1-0, Steelers are 0-1. And that could be a major flip or difference in their division. So that has emphasis. I like the Saints. I think the Saints and the Buccaneers, I told you earlier, the Saints and the Buccaneers are the top dogs of that division. Atlanta's 2-0, but I just don't, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. But we'll get into more NFL right now. I'm going to transition out of this as I am segueing already into it. And I'm just going to start throwing some things on the screen here. This was a big story yesterday. Justin Fields, right? Folks, are you seriously thinking this guy is the real deal? Are you believing this hype again? I'm not. I know it's a hard position. And that's his position. And that's what he's trying to be, as an NFL quarterback. But it is what it is, right? I told you this, but they were putting people like him in the elite status, or this is his elite year. But when Stroud from Houston has thrown more 300-yard passing games in his 2-year career. Remember, Fields, like it says there, has played 27 NFL games. C.J. Stroud has played 2. And Justin Fields has yet to throw a 300-yard game. Put that in perspective. All right. So, 12 straight losses with this quarterback. So, Cardinal fans, if you're these two teams, Cardinals and Bears, will be playing each other, and we'll see, is this like a tiebreaker? The way this is starting to line up a little bit more about number 1 overall draft pick, because loser may get that tiebreaker with this game up in the, I don't know when that game is. It's coming up in about a month or so. All right. Here's a big star player of the game. Again, this guy is Puka. I just want to say Puka, because he's making a lot of people puka because the way he's been playing. I mean, you saw San Francisco yesterday. Wow. They didn't realize how good this guy is. Cooper Kupp, this guy, the Rams have weapons again. And this guy is something else. To me, he's the best receiver in the NFL right now, the way he's putting up his numbers. And the Cardinal fans will get to see him twice. I think a lot of people are going to get to see him a lot more. And he was a little banged up coming into the game, but he does it again. He had a huge game against San Fran, and the 49ers, pulled away. But at one point, it was like tied 17-17 or something like that, and the Rams were hanging in there. We're all watching that scoreboard going, what is going on there? And so you got to keep your eye on the Rams. They're not rolling over. There's one of those teams that you thought would be trading everybody away by the trade deadline, and that may still happen. But they have rebuilt something there, and they got some mojo going there, and they're 1-1. Okay, a lot of teams could be still 1-1, but they're 0-2. All right, this guy right here, Tua, last night, he's never lost a game against Bill Belichick, but I don't think he's ever played the Patriots with Tom Brady, right? So let's throw that out the window, because I think they're just hanging their hat, these people, on the stat. But, when you're going up against Bill Belichick, you think Belichick will have some type of win or two against any team. But things have changed in New England. The Patriots itself they've actually 0-2 since 2001 is the last time they went to a Super Bowl that year and won it. But that's the last time they were 0-2. So it's been a couple of decades. And this guy is back, right? Tua is back. It looks really good. The Patriots gave him fits last night, right? Patriots just could not find their way to get that game tied up. They came inches away. I remember there was a 4th down, and they fell short. It was like a lateral last night, if you were watching it. And the instant replay review showed they were short. Ball turned over on downs to Miami with like 40 whatever seconds left, and that was it. It was over. And you thought maybe you had a tying game, touchdown, whatever it was, and it didn't happen last night. But that's the NFL. All right, let's keep rolling through here. I'm going to pop this on. Buffalo Bills, after a slow start again, opening drive, the Raiders jumped out 7-0. It looked easy. Garoppolo, Buffalo fans going, oh, man, what's going on? Is this one of those years? But that Buffalo defense showed up, and the bread and butter of the Raiders, it was that running game, -2 yards, 9 carries for Josh Jacobs. They made sure Josh Jacobs was not going to be a factor. So the big blue up north in New York, the Buffalo Bills took care of business, right? That was a real mafia yesterday in Buffalo. The fans can rest easy in Buffalo. Just think about the Bills for a second too, because they've had a history of some slow starts or an opening game week 1 loss here and there, and everybody's pulling the plug on them, and people pulling plugs after the opening drive yesterday of the Raiders scoring a touchdown, but they won big. They took care of business, and they never lost sight of winning that game. And once they took the lead too, they just steamrolled the Raiders. And I guess we got a little look at the Raiders, who they really are. I think they're only as far as Garoppolo cannot make mistakes, and he'll make some big plays. And if they can keep that running game going with Josh Jacobs itself. But I think the Raiders are going to be a fun team to watch, but the talent level is not there. All right. This is a what's the Barkley, Saquon Barkley. I got some video on him from leaving the game yesterday. This is hard to watch. If you're a Giant fan, after the game. This is after the game, where the game was a good 20 minutes after or so, and here comes Barkley on a golf cart after the game, and it didn't look like he was in all this pain, but he looked like he was nervous. He was scratching his knee pad or thigh pad, and he was going to stroll into the X-ray room, which is next to the Cardinals locker room area, and then he comes back out shirtless on the golf cart. And then the story said, we know he got hurt late in the game. It was 28-28. He got tackled, and they had to carry him off. And now they're just saying that it's there's some good news about him. There was some good news about Barkley, that it's not a high ankle sprain. Looks like it appears to be not the case. And that would have been a big blow for the Giants, but they still want to make sure. That was an X-ray. They got to do an MRI today. They're going to do something probably here in Arizona where they are. And we're going to find out, because he has a history of injuries, this guy. And sadly enough, we hope that Barkley itself can make it back. He probably won't make it back for Thursday Night Football, a short week like this, unless some miracle happens. And unfortunately, the Giants are missing a big piece Thursday night if that's the case. But watching him, that's, what a great football player, great guy, local kid from New Jersey with the Giants there. And all his heart, he's got a 1-year deal, like $10 million. He held out, and he's hurt. And this keeps on getting on his track record about being injured and everything about a running back. And they're why do you want to sign a running back for a long term or a bigger, longer 3, 4, 5-year deal, right? This is why some of these owners don't want. This is why this is the case, and this doesn't help him. Doesn't help him going into a free agency next year. So this is going to get interesting. I don't believe this is season ending from what they've been saying. They're saying this could be a few weeks, right, for this to heal. If it's a high ankle sprain, if you've been through one of those, they last a very long time. These guys recover fast. They're great athletes, but that he'll be back if that's the case. But man, the stretch run the Giants have right now, they need a guy like that. They need a guy like that, and a guy like this. Definitely he's going to have to carry the weight, and sometimes he can, sometimes he won't. All right, so let's roll off this one. Let's roll into this one here. I got something for you here. Something about food in the NFL stadiums, okay? Got a few more minutes left before I get out of here, okay? So Atlanta Falcons, right? Not only they got a great season going so far, great comeback, right? They took care of the Packers yesterday. It makes you wonder about the Packers itself, right? A lot of Jordan Love, a lot of love for him, and didn't go well. Falcons pulled it off yesterday, but at their stadium, right? This is something that why owners would like to fully own their stadium. If you can afford it and do it, go for it. Some don't. They don't want to. They're too cheap. Or whatever. I don't know how you want to explain it, but they don't want to. But $20 worth of food at the MBS Stadium in Atlanta. Look at that picture, folks. Popcorn, soda, a pretzel, nachos and cheese, hot dog. I don't know. It looks like some scrambled, something else. That's a lot of food, folks. It's a lot of food. Okay. The reason being is they own everything. Their beers are cheaper. Everything is cheaper because they don't have to. Again, I got to remind fans, it's not just a team trying to make money on the soda or the beer or the food. It's the concession stand. It's the people, the city, the stadium, whoever is in on this stadium itself. It's State Farm Stadium in Arizona, right? No, the stadium, if it's owned by the owner, like that's why the beers are cheap. That's why. You go to SoFi, the Rams don't own that. They don't. So what I'm trying to say is, folks, when an owner wants to get his own stadium, the one thing I want to hear is, I'm going to try to buy it. In Arizona, the Arizona Coyotes are trying to own their stadium. They don't want the fans. They don't want the taxpayers, nothing. And when that happens, ticket prices will be lower. Food and beer and all that stuff will be lower. And it'll be a very affordable, family-friended experience for hockey fans in the desert. And if and when that happens, it looks like it's going to be in Mesa, Arizona. That's a great example. It's a great example how it all plays out. Okay. So I thought that was a great thing to watch. And Atlanta probably is the best fan experience in the way of, the food, the concessions, watching football, or whatever it is. But that's a big deal. When you four-wall everything and you own that, there's nobody else's hand in the cookie jar. You can do whatever you want. And remember, to make a beer and have them deliver it and put it on tap, that's all you're paying for. It's cheap. It's cheap. So you can pay $6 for a beer, whatever it is in Atlanta. Man, you're not double fisting in Atlanta. You're coming out with trays of beer. All right. One last note, and I'm going to give some love to this guy here, Deion Sanders, only because of what he's doing in Colorado. They got a lot of work to do. They got Oregon coming up at the end of the next week, I should say, the big test. And here, we're here for the corn. I don't know if he was talking about me. That's okay, Deion. We only met once, Super Bowl 30. But you definitely can carry that corn and bring it up against Oregon because a lot of eyes are there. And if you can pull off that upset win there, yeah, you can double fist corn there too. Okay, because what a win for them. It wasn't. They were about to lose that game, and his son led them back. Shandor, man, led them back, and that was a great game to watch. Great comeback. All right, if there was 2 games in the NFL and in college football that you want to watch, is the Colorado game and their comeback against Colorado State on Saturday night, and then the Giants-Cardinal game yesterday, Sunday afternoon in the desert itself. So if you want to watch 2 games this week, replay, that's probably what I would do, right? All right. You don't have to. You don't have to. One more last note about a quarterback, and we put this out there earlier, but this is Aaron Rodgers, folks. This steam has picked up about him coming back this season for the playoffs. I told you Tuesday. It hasn't happened because we got to wait and see if the Jets can actually make the playoffs. And that's a wait and see. But this guy is determined, and he's a different freak of nature. He's a different dude. Okay, give me your timetables, give me your doubts, and then watch what I do. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, you can hate on him, you can laugh at this, but there are now more and more reports. Yeah, I got way ahead of Adam Schefter. All right, I was so ahead of this. I got to give myself some dings because I saw something. I believe in something. I visualized this. I know something. I read the medical reports and everything else. And everybody kept saying 9 to 10 months. And I kept telling people, no. For one, these are athletes. And this is Aaron Rodgers. But he's going to be 39, 40 years old. Folks, you act like that's really old. But it's football. Yeah. And so don't tell me anymore the 40 is the next 30 or the new 30. That's not that far off. And this guy takes care of himself very well. And he does other things that the protocol doctors and medicine that you follow do not follow with him or what he follows. I'm going to trust Aaron Rodgers. And I believe he believes 100% he'll be back in January for a wild card game. Is he a backup? What happened yesterday with Zach Wilson's 3 interceptions against the Cowboys. That's got to change. Well, they won't even get close. But if they get there, I want the Jets to get in because I would love to see this story get built. It's not about me. I just reported something that I believe is very possible. And it's not impossible. No, it's very possible that this guy, Aaron Rodgers, can make it in January on the timetable that he sees it and that I was able to understand. That's all I'm saying, folks. But you got to wait. I want the Jets to make the playoffs because I want to see this happen because I think it's a great story. It's a lot of fun for me. And we love talking about Aaron Rodgers, love or hate him. I love this guy. I think he's just everything about him. And a lot of people hate him for other reasons. A lot of times I say, get over it. I really do. This is his individuality. This is this guy. And he manifests anything he wants with his own existence. And I love when he said that because I believe in all that. God bless him. And if he makes his comeback and things happen, we'd love to see it. If not, we'll see Aaron Rodgers next season for sure. All right, folks, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for tuning in for Hanna Time on this. Wow, it's a Monday morning. Quarterback Monday morning. I will see you sometime on Friday morning. I don't know my time yet. I'm waiting in. I got a guest coming in. I'm waiting to see what happens. But if not, Cornelius Brad Hanna, right here on Hanna Time. If you want to replay the show, go ahead. My sponsors, once again, I got to throw them out there for you real quick, folks. I love you for it if you can. P2P Ticks right here. Direct person to person. If you want to get your ticket sold to a person, hey, low fees, the lowest you're going to find. The lowest you're going to find. Also, I want to throw it out there too itself. Metal One Coin Exchange. It's the only coin that has yet to drop. It's holding steady and still growing, and hasn't hit the big market the way you would like to see it because they're waiting. But it's backed by gold, and it's working. Check it out, folks. Metal One Exchange. Also, the book, A Peaceful War, about the human computer chip. Check it out on Amazon. And Dr.REDDY, GI, liver specialist, Mesa, Arizona. Give him a call right there. All right, guys, we're out of here. Hanna Time. Global Sports Broadcasting Network.